hiring a lawyer, your thoughts, the vice president hiring one. Is it no big deal? No one should assume anything, or is this a turning point?
It's a smart move. If they came to me and said, Paul Butler, you're under investigation for the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, I wouldn't say I wasn't even born then. I would say I need a lawyer.
But there's no sign that Vice President Pence, outward sign, is under investigation.
The sign is that the special counsel wants to talk to him. There are 4,000 federal crimes out there. Justice Scalia, of all people, said if the government wants to charge you with a crime, they can always find one. It's just safer to have somebody on your side, even if you're the vice president.
All right, Jeffrey, your thoughts on Vice President Pence getting a lawyer tonight?
Paul and I taught at GW together a few years ago, and the first lesson we would teach our students is if you're ever under any kind of investigation whatsoever, say the magic words, I want a lawyer. That all sorts of legal protections kick in, and I agree with Paul. It's just smart and prudent to have a lawyer at a time when this investigation could go in directions that no one can anticipate right now.
All right. Well, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein be forced to recuse himself from overseeing Special Counsel Mueller's investigation. Let me ask you if there is some suggestion that he might be a witness in the investigation, and because he wrote that memo about firing the former director. So what happens to him? He's
out of there in terms of supervising the investigation. One of the directions the investigation has taken is to look at the circumstances of Comey's firing. Rod Rosenstein wrote a memo strongly criticizing Comey. Didn't say he should be fired, but walked up to that point. If that's the subject of the investigation, there's no way that he can impartially supervise that. Or actually, I know Rod, I think he could impartially supervise it, but it wouldn't be a good look. And that's why he does need to step aside.
Jeffrey, all the discussion is about the investigation, possible obstruction of justice. What do you need to prove obstruction of justice?
You have to corruptly intend to impede an official investigation, and a lot turns on the word corruptly. What were the president's motives? We all know from James Comey's testimony the famous words, I hope you can let this go, when it came to the Flynn investigation, and the question of whether I hope showed a corrupt intent to shut down the investigation or some other innocent attempt, like to protect national security. But the special counsel's now talking to Dan Coats to find out whether or not the president tried to use the Department of National Intelligence to interfere with the FBI, and he could find all sorts of other facts that might cast light on this tough question of whether the president intended corruptly to shut down the investigation. Now, some, like Alan Dershowitz, have said the president cannot corruptly obstruct justice because he can shut down any investigation by firing any prosecutor. Others disagree with that by saying that he cannot have an illicit or corrupt motive, and although that's a tough legal question, much will turn on the facts that Robert Mueller discovers in the course of the many people he's going to be talking to.
All right, Paul, since you're both law school professors, let me give you a hypothetical, because I don't want to suggest anything, but can a sitting president be indicted?
No. We think the answer is no. So the Constitution doesn't contain answers to some questions. You think it might. It goes on and on about impeachment, says nothing about whether the sitting president can be criminally prosecuted. There's a couple interesting little details, though. The president can pardon anybody. Presumably, if he is prosecuted and convicted in office, he could pardon himself. What most people think is that the remedy is for special counsel to send a description of the allegations to the House and Senate. If he's convicted, impeached, he's out of there, and then he could be prosecuted.
Of course, but as a practical matter, that's not likely to happen with the Republicans. I mean, I don't know, but Republicans now hold both the House and the Senate. But let me ask, what happens, do you agree, Jeff, what happens if Special Counsel Mueller does make a referral to Congress on obstruction of justice? I mean, do you think that that it would go any further in light of the fact that we have a Republican president, Republican-held House?
Paul is right that the consensus of most legal scholars is that sitting presidents can't be criminally indicted. The impeachment clause says judgment in cases of impeachment shall extend no further than removal from office, but presidents can be criminally prosecuted after the fact. But that doesn't mean that there can't be lots and lots of other officials who can and might be prosecuted as a result of the investigation, ranging from Spiro Agnew, who, as Nixon's vice president, was subject to potential criminal indictment. That's another reason why it was smart for this vice president to hire a lawyer. So although probably impeachment is the sole remedy for charges against President Trump, lots of other people could be criminally indicted.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.